Hi, my name is Ed Duffus. I'm the CEO of OpenCRVS, and in this short video, I'm going to explain how OpenCRVS can be seen within the context of a systems architecture. So let's take a look at a generic systems architecture, which shows OpenCRVS and some of the potential integration points that we often see in countries and how those can benefit from the receival or sharing of data from the OpenCRVS system. So in this diagram, you can see the OpenCRVS logo in blue at the top of this picture. So let's start on top left-hand side with the health system. So there's a bi-directional sharing of information from the health system to OpenCRVS. Like all of the interfaces shown on this diagram, the interfaces which OpenCRVS supports are standards-based interfaces. You can find more information about those in the interoperability section within technology on the documentation website. So the health system interoperability, we often see that in countries, births and deaths, for example, take place in health facilities, and there's often a health system which is already in existence, which is capturing event level data related to those births and deaths. So obviously the interoperability, the sharing of information from the health system to the civil registration system, that is OpenCRVS in this case, can be very beneficial because this can be a source of notifications coming from the health system, which means that rather than OpenCRVS being used as a second digital system in health facilities, the existing health system can be used and through that standards-based interface can share the notification of birth or death, which typically is a subset of the full amount of declaration data for birth and death with the civil registration system to inform of the vital event, which can then be used for later follow-up of a declaration for later validation and then registration. Likewise, data from OpenCRVS can be shared with health systems once registration has taken place. Then data from OpenCRVS can be shared via the webhook technology with health systems to ensure that health systems for which information related to the notifications has not been sent can take advantage of registrations of births and deaths which have taken place within the civil registration system. That's why we refer to this as a bidirectional interface, a sharing of data related to vital events which have taken place. On the right-hand side, you can see interoperability with the national statistics system. So this is related to the vital event statistical data. Important to mention that OpenCRVS exports vital statistics information. That interface is available in a manual download format. So every month, OpenCRVS exports a full set of anonymized registration data related to all the vital events which have been recorded during that month. And it strips out the personally identifiable information from it. So it leaves just the statistical information and then exports that into a CSV file, which can be read by any statistical package, Excel, for example, for further analysis and creation of statistical reports. So that's the interface there with the National Statistics System. So the next interface we'll take a look at is this interface with the unique identification system. This is a very important interface. So as you can see here, the OpenCRVS is providing the vital events data as the legal and trusted source, the only legal and trusted source of vital event data within the country. This is being made available to the unique identification system, which could be a national ID system, digital ID system. So let's imagine at birth, the registration of birth is then sent to the unique identification system, which is then able to generate the unique identifier for life for that particular child. So without that information coming from OpenCRVS, it wouldn't be possible to trigger the creation of that unique identifier. So it can help with all kinds of universal aspects of ensuring that there's a unique ID created for individuals. So it's the civil registration system, OpenCRVS, that's able to trigger that at birth. So a unique ID is created within the unique identification system, which can then be shared back with OpenCRVS, typically as a tokenized or virtualized ID from the unique ID system, such that the birth registration number within OpenCRVS is linked together with the unique ID of the individual. At death, likewise, OpenCRVS is sharing information about the death with the unique identification system, so that at the end of a lifetime, the information or the holder of that unique ID can no longer use that ID for authentication purposes. This can be really helpful in terms of ensuring that IDs are no longer used for accessing public services, for accessing welfare payments or pension payments, for example. So those, once the death registration has been shared with a unique identification system, in effect, that user is no longer able to authenticate using that ID. And so access to services will be stopped. The bottom arrow here is just illustrative of a number of additional use cases which can be added, which through interfaces with OpenCRVS, which are really built upon the fact that OpenCRVS is providing this legal and trusted source of vital events data. Any number of these use cases can be supported with the sharing of, for example, birth data or death data with these other systems. Let's take a typical example of a social safety nets. So it's possible for a social protection system to build up a beneficiary list based on details related to births or deaths. So if we take the example of a child welfare program or a child benefit, which is set up on the birth of a child and paid to the mother, then this system benefits from the interface from OpenCRVS, because the birth data is sent on request from the social protection system, such that the full beneficiary list of that program can be built up, and then disbursements can be made to the mother throughout the life cycle of that particular program. So all of these systems could support really value-add use cases. Another one might be education, for example. If you wanted to ensure universality of education for children going into primary school, for example, you could build up a roll of all children in the country whose births had been registered within the OpenCRVS system. And this can be used by the education system to ensure all of those children are enrolled into school at the primary school age. Likewise, for universality of healthcare, ensuring that vaccinations are provided universally to all children at the correct age. It's the data which comes from the civil registration system. Again, in this case, OpenCRVS, which is able to provide the legal and trusted source of the birth data for those systems. So there was just a few illustrative examples of how to think about interoperability of OpenCRVS within the eGov ecosystem. There are potentially other systems which could be interoperable with OpenCRVS, but these are the main ones that we've discovered thus far, and which can add great value by using the standards-based interoperability which OpenCRVS provides.